Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Spar&Brawl. Hope you're having a decent day. So I'm sure you've seen this, maybe this video, the Vanguard covered it. This is how I saw the video, but I mean, it is so insanely ridiculous that I thought I had to show it to Sam at the very least. And yeah, so we have a new setup today with this new screen sharing because I'm having problems with my computer, but I think it works out very well for this story. And Sam, I didn't know this was possible to have 169 upvotes and 2,500 likes. Like, I thought this would trigger something with YouTube and they would come take this video down.
169 likes and 2.5 thousand unlikes. Yes.
Look at the view count, man. 15,000 only. 15,000 for a channel which still has 1.2 million. I mean, I think this lady just came for one day anyway. Let's watch a bit, and I think they got rid of her.
Yeah, I think after this, I heard, I only heard from you that after this, I think they've taken
let's get into this and we'll
upstate.
try to, I also have a few things to try to debunk a little bit here and there, but I mean, there's so much garbage. I don't know what you would debunk. But yeah, let me know if you ever want me to pause it. I'm going to try to go through it with not too many
I'll
pauses.
give you my 2-finger signal.
Sounds good. Let's go.
Polish.
By the way, they made this video because ProPublica put out an article where they got data from the IRS. Someone sent it to them, which showed that the top 25 billionaires in the US, they paid somewhere between 1 to 5% income tax. So this story is about that. So
I read about that.
Let's get
People
right
were
into
outraged by that part. Story about how billionaires don't pay much in taxes. People were outraged by that part. But the question was, how did ProPublica get all this information from the IRS?
Good question. ProPublica's reporting was part of a major tax leak, which is now under investigation and referred to the FBI as the probe continues to grow.
Well, for conservatives, our first thought is, how did this happen again? During Obama, you'll remember, the IRS deliberately targeted conservative groups and got caught. And do you remember Lois Lerner? Mm-hmm. Okay.
I remember.
If you're out there and you don't remember Lois Lerner, go look her up. I Googled her last night. Whatever happened to Lois Lerner?
Yeah.
So what she's referring to, well, I don't remember it specifically, but it wasn't as simple as that. Yes, they were caught targeting certain right-wing and conservative groups, but there was, I don't think, enough evidence to show ever that they were targeted because they were right-wing. It was just that usually, sadly, or not sadly, right-wing organizations have a tendency, Trump University comes to mind here, have a tendency to be more likely to commit fraud. Anyways, but it wasn't as simple as she put it. That's from what I remember. I haven't seen.
No, I'm glad you explained this, because this one, I mean, this part was just so I didn't even bother checking this, so I don't even. I remember the story vaguely, it's based on it. But yeah, I don't remember the late. I love how she says go Google it.
Farisma? No, Farisma. It had a specific name. This scandal. Farismo. I forget.
I don't know. I didn't look this.
I'm
this
sure
part, I just
people who watch our videos. Yeah, people who watch our videos tend to be more knowledgeable than us, so they let us know.
But I love two things, since you made me pause that. I was going to say that. The first one is that, of course, for her, the issue is how the leaks happen. Like typical Republican conservatives, they always say that. And then she's like, just go Google it. Listen, that's your job, okay? That's the product and service that you're selling. We're giving you our time for you to explain the thing, not for you to tell me to go Google. If you're at a party and you're having an argument, tell that person to go Google. Well, here, that's why they brought you on. But anyway.
No, I think she meant it as in Google it as in it's true. I'm not making it up type thing.
Well, she should have explained a bit more.
By the way, she said for us conservatives. So in this, he's also a conservative?
I guess
no, I didn't understand.
I was also
as
wondering.
In us or okay.
Yeah.
No,
I was also wondering that. But I mean,
I don't know who either of them are, sadly.
Yeah.
So.
Because she was in charge of this whole thing, where she went after the conservative groups. And remember, she wouldn't toss, she kept taking the fifth. And she is on a pension of $100,000 a year by the government. Can't find her where she works. If anyone wants to figure it out, help me. Because I was going to try to call Lois Lerner. Well, we're back. Lois Lerner's not at the IRS, but the IRS is spilling all of our tax returns again and taking advantage of their power. Now, the goal of all this, in my view, was to make all of us angry that all the billionaires don't pay taxes, right? Because that's what we all spent all last week being upset about. Like, billionaires don't pay taxes and we're paying our taxes and we pay our fair share, blah, blah, blah. Well, actually, the real issue is, forget Bezos and his gazillions, he doesn't pay taxes. The real issue is this is a major crime, and the FBI needs to investigate into how these IRS records, and it's like 15 years of them, suddenly gets dumped to ProPublica. How did it get out? Imagine if it was yours. The public needs to know what the IRS is doing with our return.
I love how she's like, imagine it was yours. Nobody gives a shit about your tax records. I mean, these are like some of the richest, they're like the biggest billionaires in America. Of course, there was a story there. That's why their things got leaked. They're not going to come and do it to you. I mean, nobody gives a shit about your tax returns.
Look, if you're I know a lot of small business owners who do tend to, they don't, that's why, by the way, tax evasion, especially I don't know if I'm a leftist or a rightist or whatever I am, but I never been that upset about it because in my lifetime, in the UK, in France, in Germany, in Italy, in Iran, in Armenia, in Dubai, everywhere, a smallest business owner to the biggest business owner I met, they were all trying to fiddle their taxes, and they all had some kind of return. Anybody who could. In the UK, for example, they tried, but they failed. In Armenia, they tried more successfully. So I do think there is a truth about that, and I don't think it should be. I don't think it's your tax, government. If government collects your tax records, it's like private data site sort of. So I do think there should be if judge gives an order, then it can become public. But this is shedding light on a much bigger issue that is currently, it seems, undermining the whole economy of the US and the whole economy of the world, maybe. So again, okay, this is not good, and a IRS or any governmental organizations that collects people's data, they should have safeguards, of course. But don't you see the bigger story here?
That's the exact thing, right? I mean, that's the exact thing, right? I mean, of course, you don't want the IRS to be putting out people's taxes, and it's not the IRS who did it anyway. I'm guessing it's somebody within that who thought that people should know that some of the richest people are not paying their fair share of taxes, regardless if other people are also not trying to. I mean, this is a major issue that will cause a lot of issues down the line or now.
By the way, that's another thing. Sorry, I have a problem with they don't. They say they don't pay their fair share. From what I read, they didn't do anything illegal. So if anybody's to blame, it's government.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, for sure.
Jeff Bezos has never. I mean, he probably has, because these tech billionaires are crazy. But even if he has, in his heart, he knows that he's in this for the money. He's not in this to create a charity or make the world a better place or socialism or capital. He's just a simple man who wants a lot of fucking money, right? It's not his job to, to go and oh, guys, I feel like the taxes you got from me is not fair. His job is to just try to hide as much as he can. So I don't blame them. If anybody is to blame, it's the government.
100%.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just
No,
sorry,
I don't disagree.
Tangents.
Look, if they can give you Jeff Bezos's return, they're going to give yours. They're going to give mine as soon as they get mad about something.
No, you see, they're never going to give yours or mine. Nobody.
Maybe hers. Maybe
hers too. What? I doubt she gets paid much, because she kind of sucks at even being an anchor, I find. I don't know if you get that feeling.
Yeah, I get that feeling, but
she works at AOC apparently.
Yeah, I get that feeling from Rachel Maddow, but she's the highest
I feel
paid
like
anchor.
True, but the CNN folks, I feel like, are a little bit more talented, at least, at doing this.
CNN. Sorry, but Rachel Maddow and Sean Hannity and these type of anyway.
True.
Look, we've established it's not Lois Lerner, but someone in there, and so that's what the FBI is going to investigate. But
they can give mine. I'm fine with that, and if I run for office, I'll turn them out. I don't care.
Mine's on TurboTax, so if you want to break in, go ahead.
But here's the deal. I don't disparage billionaires for becoming billionaires. That's great. You want to become a billionaire, you're ultimately successful, and you have major ideas that change the world like all of these gentlemen have, right? The gentlemen and ladies. But the real problem here is what is going on with wealth for average Americans, okay? And if you look at the last 15 to 20 years where people over the age of 40, when they start to really get into quote unquote their earning years, okay, their income and net worth has gone up about $65,000, okay? Their tax bill, $62,000. While at the same time, billionaires, okay, have increased their net worths quadrupled times in many cases. And you know what they're paying here? I'm going to read it to you what they're paying. Warren Buffett, 10% true tax rate, okay? Jeff Bezos, 0.98% tax rate, less than 10. Mike Bloomberg, 1.3%. And Elon Musk, 3.27%. Pardon me, it was point.
Yeah.
So sorry, but doesn't like that part sort of redeems the video for there's you get the both sides. I mean,
No, he's not the worst.
People, the way you and other people talked about this video, I thought that
because
both
I
of
think
them,
halfway, sorry. Yeah, he wasn't.
people are just turned off.
He was giving the most like bare minimum kind of thing there. You're right, but it's really her. Yeah. No, it's really her, and especially halfway through. I don't know if you realized it. Because she tried to get her computer, so she opens her computer. So give it another minute.
Okay.
It becomes a little bit funnier, and that's where when I pulled up a few facts, and then after
this, like watching Godfather.
Yeah, and then after this, we'll also do the Ryan Grimm one on Ben Burgis, really short. I forgot to mention.
Yeah, because I was going to refer that because in that one you have the same situation where. Like a right wing. Yeah. We get it.
0.10% and 0.98%. Now, when that is the actual tax rates that people are paying, it's a major, major problem, right? Like if all the dollar bills are in one section of the table and that table section keeps growing and growing and growing while the rest of us keep fighting over a smaller and smaller allotment and we have to pay in to the dealer every time, we lose. And that's going on. I don't have any problem with billionaires. I have a problem with the fact that they don't have to pay a fair share of their taxes.
I'm just looking at my own facts. I promise you.
I'm just looking at my own facts. I love how she slipped that in.
Listening, because I'm like, let's debate taxes for a minute, because I'm trying to
I'm a business owner. I don't want to pay more taxes than I absolutely have to. I employ people, and so I appreciate people who say, look, corporate tax rate should be X, Y, or Z. The problem is people who have incredible net worths game the system. And how are they getting the system set up so that they can game it?
I mean, they gain it because they have really expensive accountants that we can't afford to figure this all out. And look, I'm a big proponent of the flat tax. Like one postcard, this amount, that would be great. I don't know why we can't ever get to that. And even last year, we couldn't even get to that. But here's...
Yeah.
They don't, I mean, they do partially escape taxes because of the fact that they have expensive accountants and lawyers. But I think, to be honest, I think, well, this is just my view. If you have that much amount of money, it's very easy to manipulate. You know, it's money makes money. And when you have a large amounts of money, and for example, there was all these talks with Elon Musk that his whole Bitcoin thing was just a way, because these people, they don't have cash, they have shares, they have assets, they have these type of their Bezos money is not the cash he carries around like 30, you know. So I think she's just she's not I don't think she understands the economy that well.
But also I love how like for her, like it's all okay, you know, like that's how they do it. I would have done it that way, like everything. I'm like, I don't understand like to which audience this is like okay, you know, for
middle class, urbanized LA.
Yeah,
New York,
but it's so strange because that's not something they can do. I don't know. That like she's just like so okay,
the Kensington area, the ones that like
they watch that, but they have this kind of conservative politics and viewpoint. I mean, I don't know. Like for instance, Fox News. I mean, they're known for like, you know, the stuff that they say and the stuff that they're against. It actually against their viewers, their audiences, like actual advantage, like actual benefit. But for some reason, they're still just like okay with it. Like for instance, you know, they'll oppose
the working class that votes
they'll oppose like, you know, increases in corporate tax rate, even though none of them own corporations. They would only benefit from that.
But her audience are the same.
Yeah, exactly. Which is like confusing. Exactly. I don't understand like why, like, you know, how this like resonates with them. You know, like the only person this should resonate with are like billionaires, because it's like a defense of them.
Because they see billionaires as we are getting
as
into
them becoming
bullshit
like
psychology, and
well,
I'm not a they see them as people who beat the system rather than as I mean that's my thing. I don't this is anyway. Let's watch the fantastic.
That's my point, and I can't Google it fast enough. But yes, your numbers with what Buffett or whatever pay 1%, 10%. They're paying the top 1%. I think pays 90% of all of government income. It comes from like 1% of the population. Like the people, the Democrats are always targeting.
Okay, so this is where I
That's
actually pulled
partially
up the facts.
true.
No, I pulled up the facts, but it is. Let's just finish it. Give it 5
usually
seconds.
in most, like this is what I remember from political theory. Usually 70% of in Western Europe and America, 70% of tax comes from the higher thresholds. But go ahead now, give us the facts, and then I'll say
taxes are actually the only ones paying taxes, and the only ones who are the Democrats are government income. It comes from like 1% of the population. Like the people the Democrats are always targeting to raise taxes are actually the only ones paying taxes, and the only ones who are keeping.
So sorry, before getting to serious stuff, she just accused all of Americans of not paying taxes. Did you get that? She's like, they're the only ones who pay taxes. Okay, we'll stop again.
So I'll look this up.
But clearly, but clearly not.
90% of the 90%
maybe
of the
overall
government is
revenues
funded off 10% of the people.
So there, she changed it anyway. She went from now 10 to 90%.
No, she meant majority of taxes is paid by them, and I don't think she was. But she was.
Even if that is true, I mean, to me, the first question that comes to your mind is like, so what kind of inequality is there that other people you're taxing them too, but it's just meaningless? However, plus they're only talking about income tax, by the way, only talking about income tax. And of course, in the US, there's sales tax per state. And, if you're spending all your money every paycheck, you're also paying a lot of taxes that way. But here are actually the figures. So this is from the Heritage Foundation. Yeah, from the Heritage Foundation, which is a conservative think tank. So share of all income earned. So this is how much income they earn, the 1%. By the way, billionaires are not the 1%. So that's also something else to bear in mind. I mean, billionaires are what? They're the 0.000.
Hang on a minute.
Yeah.
Wait.
So yeah.
What is this table? I don't understand.
Let me explain it to you. So first, stick to the one on top, share of all income earned. So all income, right? 20% of all income, right? Salaries go to the 1%, okay? And this 1% share of all income taxes, they pay 40%. So 1% pays 40% of all income taxes, right? But they make 20% of the revenue, of course, and billionaires are not even 1%. That's also something that's kind of lost here, and it's income tax. Then the top 2 to 5%, they get 16% of all total income, and they pay 20%. 5 to 10, they get 11 and 11. So yeah, if you add these guys up, right? So the top 10% pay 70%.
Yeah, I get it, but this is, I don't think. Okay, let's look at it from this angle.
But did you get this? Did you understand?
Yeah. They generate this much revenue, but they pay, and then they generate their share of taxes much higher than the revenue.
So if she would have, her fact would have been correct on even though her interpretation after maybe not, but her fact would have been correct if she said that 10% pay 70%, not 1% pay 90%, and then she went 10. And bear in mind that is, again, as I said, this is only income tax. Go ahead. What are you going to say?
No, I haven't done any. I don't remember the data or research, but I recall there was this thing that in Western European countries, especially, if I don't know if it was true about America, that most of the budget, 70% of the budget of the government is from the taxes, like the money that comes from taxes. Let's say 70 to 60% of it comes from the rich people. But this is true. Okay, fair. Yeah, sure. They're paying more taxes than others, right? They're paying a bigger proportion of the tax tax pie.
Not compared to their own particular specific own wealth necessarily also, which is something else to bear in mind.
Okay. My point. Right now, what are the big issues in US? It's underfunded education system, it's the underfunded healthcare system, it's the underfunded infrastructure, it's the underfunded job programs, it's the underfunded social security program, it's underfunded, everything is underfunded. That underfundedness, where do you think that comes from? That comes from because they used to pay, I believe even in Eisenhower times, I think the top like they used to pay about 90% or 70%, something like that tax. So when you get that much money, in my view, basically what has happened, especially during the last 30 years, has been the gutting of government in favor of these private companies that get contracts from the government and are not answerable, and they don't go bankrupt and they just keep coming, ask for more money and stuff. So yeah, okay, they are already, rich people already pay higher amounts of they contribute more to the tax pool, whatever it is. But that's not enough. You know, that's not, you can, okay, some rich person puts in $1 million out of his $20 million for a project. You know, he's not going to be as affected as somebody who puts like $100,000 out of $200,000 that he has. You know what I mean? So,
but that's exactly
anyway,
the reason why
sorry.
taxes are I mean, I think that's perfect. I think that's what I'm saying, and that's the reason why. I mean, you have progressive tax, right? Because if not, if you had her way of, you know, send one postcard in. I love that simplification of the tax. I hate that simplification of tax.
No,
such a stupid argument.
It's like they use it. That's the thing. They steal words that are actually like, yes. To be fair, you don't even need to, I think, increase income tax. You certainly don't need to increase VAT. You have to reduce that because normal people are hurt.
Exactly.
You can just introduce tax on financial transactions like derivative sales, or increase the threshold of tax. I think like I remember when Mitt Romney was running and he had that Bain company, Bain Capital, like they would pay like something like 12% on each transaction, something like that. So, you know, there is all these other, because I don't think like right now, the problem is not high income people. Like Jeff Bezos is not a high income earner, so to speak, so much as he has a lot of shares, he has a lot of assets, you know, that type of thing. So I think,
and shares are not like in the US, it's like, if I'm not mistaken, if you hold
I think
your
a state by state is different.
Especially if you hold it, I think, for more than a year or two, then like the time. But to me, man, whenever I hear what she was saying and when I look at this, it just screams inequality to me, like big time. Like that's my main takeaway. Just look at this. Bottom 50% of Americans just get 12% of total income. So 50% of Americans.
Right winger, yeah, but you have to look at it from her perspective.
Yeah,
she would say that's because they didn't try hard enough.
I mean, it's just insane. And I mean, here I have a little percentage of US distribution, like of income. So I mean, we don't even need to get to this and don't even get complicated with this. But I mean, just like, you know, the average American makes 35,000 US dollars, you know? So look, all these people until here. Okay, sorry about that little cut there, folks. My dog went just a bit crazy. I had to take care of that. But yeah, just look at this.
And by take care, he means he killed him.
Yeah. Hey, don't put me in the same box as Andrew Yang. Joking. That's not a bad thing. But yeah, I mean, you can just see like most Americans fall here like under the 50,000. But let's forget about this one. To me, this just screams inequality. And I love how this Heritage Foundation just has this there, and to them it kind of proves their points. But
I would, I would. It's bottom 50%. That is the crazy part, you know, 50%.
50% of Americans make, so I mean, I don't even know how you can tax them. And another part of the story that I mentioned 10 times is that this is income tax.
People, it's something along those lines. So it's not, so he may be paying 1%, but 1% for him is like more than 100 people are giving to the government each year.
But that's fine. The question is, if you want to...
She made the opposite argument. It's like surreal, right? She made the
no,
opposite.
no. She's no. If you're a 5-year-old, her argument makes sense, right?
Yeah,
as a kid,
but,
like he has more money, so when he pay, but just economy is a bit more.
But and for tax we consider the other way around. I mean, I don't know. She just
to do things like rebuild infrastructure, and you want to do things like improve schools, and you want to rebuild and build the country and make education, public education specifically affordable in higher education, like people who are working hard every day and their tax bills are...
Sorry, but you're so right. This guy is like a young Bernie Sanders comparing to... I think I think the Democrats should try to run him.
I'll tell you why this video, it surprised me a lot. When we go to the next video, I tell you why. But
okay, all right, and I only have
are
one
going
last
up
check
with the same amount of their net worth are caught in a vicious cycle while these guys are so far ahead of it. And yes, while it may be true that 10% pay majority of the bill, if you want to spur the economy, you want to continue to grow, the United States and help the middle class succeed, you got to give those people a tax break. Give people like me who run small businesses, give people who start new businesses the tax breaks, not people who have billions of dollars already.
And you know who did that?
It's a false idea.
Who helped the small business? You know who helped the small business owners? You know who helped the average person to pay less in taxes? Donald Trump, the guy y'all hate so much. He's the one who lowered taxes. He's the one who lowered taxes on the business owners, and we now have the Schedule C pass through.
Look,
everybody's paying less taxes, and actually, most people are very confused now that they are like, "I'm not getting the tax money back in April. I'm not getting a rebate." I'm like, because you're paying less.
There's an argument about that. There's an argument about that. We should.
I love how her example counteracts herself.
I
just wanted to double check.
No.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I just don't know enough about Trump's tax plans for the average American.
I have it here, my friend.
Oh.
So these are so I told you the first part of the story, I just ignored it. The thing with that, whoever the hell she was mentioning about that thing, but the rest I tried to pull up some things. So here you see in blue, it's 2017. And in orange, it's 2019. So that means after Trump introduced his tax differences, right? So pretty much the tax rate for people who earn a million or more went from 30% to 28%. So 1% in that case. The people here, these people benefited the most. The people between 250,000 and 1 million, their tax rate dropped from 23.3 to 20.5.
No, again, it depends. Like if you take her position, the 1 million plus benefited more because it was a larger amount, even though it was
no, exactly. That's even true. That's why these percentages become
so everybody's taxes was lowered, except I don't understand the last part.
Because they pay like less than tax, I think, because they make less than 20,000. So not only do they not
they get government support.
They're not even. I'm guessing that's the reason. And you see, for people who pay 20 to 50,000, it just went down a little bit. It went down 1.5%, which is nothing in that case. Here it went down by like 1.6% for 50 to 75,000.
No, man, it went by it 1.8%. The first
one. Which one? This one?
This one, 1.8%.
No, 1.8. Sorry, 1.8, and again 1.7, which is like in this area, it's nothing. And
to be fair, I mean, unless you're 250K plus, 1%, I don't think. Maybe 100K plus as well, but otherwise, 1%, 2% doesn't make any difference.
And exactly,
I don't know.
Make any
maybe
difference. And she points out herself. Do you hear the little thing that she said? She's like,
tax
people are upset
rebates,
now. They're not getting tax rebates. So. Good old Forbes.
I hate tax rebate system. I read about it so many times, but
5 good reasons it doesn't feel like the Trump tax cut benefited you, and they say exact that. First, many people will technically have lower taxes, but the cuts are so tiny, it's not noticeable. The tax policy center estimates that 60% of the lower income distribution will have a federal tax saving of less than $1,000. Almost most people that believe tax cuts didn't benefit people. Also, most people believe that tax cuts didn't benefit them, but only the very wealthy. They are right. Those in the top 1% saved $51,000. So here they took the incomes and those charts that we saw. So yeah, most Americans, if anything, saved 1,000, and these ones 51,000. And I mean, you know, if your tax money is put to good use, you're supposed to, you know, in theory, benefit from it.
By the yeah, but anyways, like he was talking about the fact that you should tax the super rich to avoid taxing the small business owners, and she just goes on this thing that, oh, you remember Trump that you all hate did it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know.
No,
anyways.
I mean, such petty performance. I think after this, it's pretty much done. So but yeah, you're right. He comes up as a
I'll say what. Let me say this now. I think because we're gonna move on to the Ryan Grimm thing, right?
Yeah.
With the Ryan Grimm video, everybody sent me this thing that, you know, oh man, Ryan Grimm destroyed this right winger on Rising. She's so bad.
Yeah, but it's not her.
Oh, your video is not about that?
He destroys the other right winger during, it's this, I believe.
Yeah, it's not her.
It's the other girl.
It's about the Soviet Union. Yeah, and they talk about the World War II, Soviet Union, America's foreign policy, and everybody was like, oh, what an amazing video, Ryan Grimm destroyed her, blah blah blah. With the one with the one you showed me now,
where you're going now.
All the narrative was that Rising is disgusting. Did you see their take? Did you see these idiots? That's even Kyle Kulinski video, which I saw.
I mean, her take was so bad.
Her take was bad. But then again, Saagar takes are good.
I don't think they were this dumb.
Anybody who says hello to China is kowtowing to China.
No, yeah, fair enough. Saagar's China stuff, we should definitely maybe make some videos on that. But I think
John Cena apologized for calling a fake country fake. And I'm not saying like I don't expect much better than a right winger from Federalist or from wherever Saagar was from, or you know what I mean? Like these are not. And he does.
But I mean, there's a clear difference between like Saagar and her, though. I mean, I've never heard like Saagar makes this many stupid points like this. I mean, like she's insane.
No,
and I think we all told you how bad this is, so you were this. But like, I don't know. When I watched it the first time, I was super shocked. I mean, now I see more, but when I watched it the first time, I was just blown away at how bad it was. How it starts off with her saying the main issue are the leaks. You know, it was like the most like shittiest right wing commentary she brought.
Sure. Yeah, but again, I don't understand why the narrative wasn't Colin destroys the right winger, just like it was with Ryan Grimm.
True. I guess they don't know him, and I guess nobody knows Colin, or maybe I don't know.
Yeah, and Kyle and everybody was just like, oh, they are all like the way they put it, they said they. So I kept thinking they brought into.
I kind of did the same, maybe. Yeah, maybe I kind of did the same, to be honest. And yeah, you're right. He's not the worst. And actually, even the Vanguard, when they were watching, they were like, yeah, this guy is just like a normal, just like, I don't know, capitalist. They kept on saying, yeah. No, I mean,
I doubt it. But...
yeah, I mean, he seems like he could be a Democrat. I don't know, or like one of these like hip right wingers a little bit. I don't know. He could be.
Yeah, I just expected both of them to be awful, but I think he was just very, you know.
For sure. But yeah, let's watch. So here they're just gonna pretty much play the clip. So Ben Burgis had Ryan Grimm on, and then you just like see Ryan Grimm.
Oh, I've seen the original video of Ryan Grimm talking to the girl.
Okay, let's just watch it quickly and then see if you have any comments to make, and if not, we'll move on to just the last piece of this story that all links, which is something superficial.
So I ended up doing 2 weeks.
Yeah, so during those 2 weeks, there's.
Oh, and you saw here he explained that he was just there for 2 weeks, and then that's fine. He was just called for 2 weeks. So, because people are wondering like who's going to take over.
I was wondering, if to be fair, if he didn't stay, there was a good chance I would have subscribed again.
You would have much better, of course.
This clip,
by the way, he came
got a lot of play from.
Go ahead.
Sorry, he came on the Bad Faith podcast to respond to a lot of criticisms from the extreme left, and I think it's a interview worth watching because.
Oh, you should have told me about that.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I just watched it.
I feel like I'm not subscribed to Bad Faith or something, or I never see their things. I have to check if I'm subscribed on my phone.
Oh, they do it great. And I have, by the way, there's another video of them that I really want to cover, which is, anyways. But yeah, Ryan Grimm and Brianna Greyjoy, who was a former employee of Brian Greene. They do a great interview. I think he gives reasonable answers, and she asks fantastic, like she doesn't hold back. So definitely.
Okay, let's definitely cover that on Thursday or Friday then.
Sorry about the tangent.
Your discussion with Emily about all of the backlash against Ilhan Omar for putting the United States, for mentioning the United States in the same breath as other, governments and organizations that, that sometimes commit war crimes, thus suggesting that the United States doesn't have an immaculate record in the world. So let's just watch this clip of.
But on the other side, on the balance, I think the United States has done incredible good around the world, continues to do incredible good around the world in a way that could never and should never be compared with the Taliban or Hamas.
I would agree in this sense that when it comes to the amount of pain and suffering that the U.S. has produced around the world, the Taliban, Hamas.
What?
There's a good comeback later on from Ryan Graham, but even here you could say, yeah, they do a lot of good work, including Taliban, which is one of their great handiworks there.
So good. It's so good. He was so sharp here.
Hamas and Israel are pikers compared to what the U.S. has been able to accomplish just in, say, Argentina, or just in Indonesia, or just in Vietnam, or just in Congo, or just you could throw a dart anywhere at the global map, and you can probably find, at some point throughout the 20th century, the U.S. intervening to undermine, some type of social democratic effort and backing the most vicious right-wing elements. And the irony of them calling this anti-Semitism when the U.S. very consciously and explicitly out of World War II allied itself with former Nazis, helped Nazis escape justice, was complete.
Yeah.
Anybody's interested, just go read about Operation Paperclip and read about, I forget the unit's name, but there was a Japanese unit that did the most disgusting and gruesome experiments, human experiments, and weapons, biological weapons. And it's very interesting. The ones that are caught by Americans all get recruited as scientists, live a very normal, happy life, die in their old age. Soviet Union actually, because they experimented on Russian people in Manchuria and all that, and same with the Nazis. Soviet Union does not show the same mercy that CIA and definitely read on Operation Paperclip.
Implicit in what was.
So wait, so your point is that America is better than the Soviet Union?
Yeah, of course. no, it's everybody's self-interested, blah, blah, blah.
Of course.
But it's just, like the Operation Paperclip, by the way, just since you paused again, NASA is founded by Werner von Braun, who was a Nazi scientist with clear, there are many people who say he was actually anti-Semitic and he did stuff. And even like in 1960s, there is a great comedian, his name escapes my mind, Tom Lehrer, one of the best comedians, musical comedians in the world, I think. Very, very short career, but it's all gold. And he meant, like, everybody knew that America basically for the progress of their own rocket program and their own military program, they basically brought in Werner von Braun and many, many more Nazis. Sorry.
Oh yeah. Anyway, no worries, all good.
It was called the rat line. With getting Nazis out of Germany and into these death squads that were run by the United States and deployed in an anti-communist fashion against the Soviet Union and against leftist elements in South America.
But who ended the Holocaust? I mean, what country?
The Soviet Union, actually.
Okay, but
I mean, the Soviet Union did that.
No.
That was the best one.
That one was.
That was the.
Yeah, that one was.
Sorry,
good.
I didn't have any interesting inputs like you in this video, but all I can say is that was.
I would say that I would add the rat thing he's referring to is more to do with the fact that they would have. This is far lower ranking Nazis. They would recruit them and have them and use them as a militia force in South America. Read about Operation Gladio in Italy, for example, where they did bombings and they blamed them on communists, while in fact it was CIA and their friend. But yeah, this part is the best, because I mean, this is not a like nowadays, at least people know that
right?
Even British make fun of the fact that Americans come in last minute when the war is over. When Russians, basically they come in to prevent Russia from taking over of whole Europe, really. That's why Americans came in. There were ships of Jews that was refused at American ports. I mean, people forget that. The idea that America entered the World War II for Holocaust, or to save people of Jewish faith or people of different sexual orientation or disabled people, that's all lies. The only reason America entered was to avoid Russian takeover of the Soviet takeover of Europe. That they didn't until 60s, when Israel starts defeating Arabs. They don't care about Jewish people, not even in America, let alone sorry.
No, exactly. They were discriminated, and there's also all the facts about what huge percentage of Hitler's army was just busy with the Russians, and they couldn't they couldn't have turn their attention to the other side, because with the Russian sides where 20 million Russian soldiers died. I mean,
the only thing you could add is if at the end, towards the end of the war, if there wasn't the American support for Russia through Iran, actually, and to Britain through the Let's program, or whatever it was called. Well, American support was a critical factor for Russia and Britain, but they did the majority of the work,
Yeah, no.
Americans just sold.
We walked in after.
Sorry, I think this just ends now anyway, this part, so we'll just go back 5 seconds.
Okay, but
I mean, the Soviet Union did that.
No,
we walked in after.
I love the way she's just no, as if
no,
come on, you're
really?
joking, right?
I think she's surprised. No.
Yeah, but you're right. Even I don't know that much about World War II, but even these facts about the Russians and stuff, they've become common, to not forget about their role in World War II.
The Russians had suffered 20+ million casualties and marched into Germany.
Sure, but without the United States' intervention, a heck of a lot more people would have died in that atrocity.
Yes, and I'm glad the Soviet Union and the United States allied to beat Nazi Germany, but the Nazi Germany, the Nazis themselves then allied with the United States to go after the Soviet Union and to go after communist and social democratic elements in South America. That's an actual part of the history.
Right, but again, there's lives being saved in that process, a lot of lives being saved in that process, and a lot of Americans putting their lives on the line and dying.
What process?
Maybe this video is more shocking than the other one, now that I think about it.
I think this one, she's just... What process? Well, the exact 2 days that the Americans were fighting the Nazis? What about the after that? He's talking about after that, and she keeps saying, whose lives are being saved in this process?
I don't understand how people why people are so mindlessly patriotic, why they love their own country so much. I don't know. I don't understand that.
I've seen Cenk Uygur talk about America with such fever. So I don't know about the white people aspect of it, but people,
I didn't say white people. I didn't say why are people. Did you hear white?
Oh, sorry.
No, I said why. No. I said why.
Kamil, you know, in our meetings you can say this type of thing.
No, I said why. I'm not even just talking about the US. Of course, in the US it's super accentuated, but everywhere else, I don't know. I care about people the same way. I mean, if there's a tragedy in one country, Canada or Iran or whatever, or in another country that I have nothing to do with, it's the same. Of course, if something happens to people then you have an emotional connection. So that I understand. But just this absolute, blind patriotism that she has. I mean, she just cannot move past this thing that her country, had done something bad. It's so problematic for her.
To save those always needs to be balanced out positive, but
Yeah, exactly.
life is more complicated.
Yeah, I think it's almost
many fewer than Soviet lives died to take on the Nazis.
But that doesn't change the fact that the United States intervened and risked lots and lots of lives compared to what it may have been complicit in, or what it may have been lives it may have costed on the other side of that. I think, again, the balance there is clearly on the side of good in a way that you can't apply to the Taliban or Hamas. I would much rather have I would take the establishment government of the United States over the governing forces and the establishment of the Taliban any day. I'm glad we're in the American empire, not the Taliban empire.
Wait till you hear who funded the Taliban at the very beginning.
Awesome. Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah, he kills it. I love how in her head, how messed up is that? You know, it's like your uncle is the biggest thief, and you're like, hey, at least my uncle is not like the biggest murderer or something. You know, like she's comparing.
Look.
For her, it's so normal to just compare like Taliban, which is, everybody agrees, it's like one of the worst forms of governments perhaps out there in the world. Where in the US, compared to the US, which she thinks is the best, and she just like compares these two, and it's like, I'd rather live in the US.
No, it's even worse than that. She has no understanding of global political economy or system or anything like that. That Taliban empire, America, these are not separate. And these are not separate self-contained entities. These are movements, consist of people, fluid. You have a Pakistani Taliban, you have Afghanistani Taliban. They have completely different goals. America, like their relationship with America. I mean, go watch the second James Bond movie with Timothy Dalton, and watch, I think it's the third Rambo or fourth Rambo, where he goes to Afghanistan, and the movie is dedicated to Mujahideen. So
oh my God,
I don't think
really?
I'm not seriously. Taliban, they're fighting communists and all that. So I think she doesn't have any idea about how the world works, and she has this simplistic view that, okay, we have these problems, but they are this. Like, I promise you, if Taliban gets as much money and power as America does, they will act very similar to America. They're not going to be, they're going to be funding people who, of course, completely disagree with them as well. So it's just, I mean, the whole Soviet Union thing proved that she's just.
How? Like, you know, these things, like talking about war and this way, and about Al-Qaeda's role and how the US funded the Mujahideen and they funded bin Laden and all this. These were kind of part of the common narrative a little bit, even in mainstream media, let's say around 2008 or 9, when the war was like, you know, when
they made a movie. I'm sorry, they made a movie with Tom Hanks and Philip Seymour Hoffman, and won Oscars.
Yeah. So where was she during that time? Like, I mean, like, you know, 10 years, this was kind of, now it's forgotten, of course. Now there's like, and whitewashing of Bush and everything. It's forgotten.
We have to pause for a second. I think somebody rang my bell.
Okay, sorry about that, guys. So we had extra technical issues. But yeah, Sam, I want to move on to the last part. Do you have any final thoughts here or anything?
No, thank you. And
So I just want to show you something fun now. Yeah, go ahead.
No, the second video is the worst. Like, she's worse, I think.
You're right. The second video is in a way, now that I think about it, worse. So I'm glad at least one of them was shocking. But okay, let's wrap it up with something fun, kind of in the same theme as The Hill and The Rising, because I was just listening to my favorite MMA podcast guy, and he talks about where he got inspiration for his podcast.
I would say that they left The Hill, but The Rising show with Saagar and Jetty and Crystal Wall, you know, where they have the longer show that delves into a ton of topics, and they'll pull out little ones to make either social assets with, or other YouTube videos with, or something like that. I felt like that was a good model. And then also,
so here he mentions how he copied like The Hill and The Rising a little bit on their podcast, and the podcast that they make. This is the template. Does this remind you of something?
Yeah.
So he copied them with some ideas, and I copied exactly their template here. I love it, except there's a bit cooler. I mean, when a computer usually
they have
works,
logos and shit,
because you see the logo moves. But then now, So this was ours, of course. People who used to be professional once upon a time, and I promise we're gonna look like this hopefully next week. But now they've switched to this. What's your opinion? What's your take? This or this? I prefer the old one. I don't
How
know.
much
Maybe I'm not too used to
information
it.
do they do a lot of writing on a screen?
So they actually do the exact same thing as the Hill does too. And I remember him mentioning that before. Where is it? They bring their issues on the side, just like now they're doing in Breaking Points as well.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
they
I
just
like
write
that.
they just like ours, write what the topic is. Actually, I think I found a weird one that doesn't have it. They have it here. But yeah, now they've just gone to this. But I kind of like this, especially with ours when we made it bigger.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think this is better because it gives you more writing
Yeah.
space. But
Okay, I'm glad. But yeah,
it's a personal
little
preference thing.
wanted to show you
To
that
be
little
fair,
trail of
I
connection.
I used to work in a company, and about UI and UX, and they say that
Yeah.
you have to change it every year or so, even if it gets worse. Otherwise, people. I remember reading about something along the like that Facebook changes its UI and UX just to keep people always interested.
No, that's interesting. But yeah, that's it, I think. Thank you everybody for watching. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Please share your comments and thoughts with us in the comment section below. Please like and subscribe. We'll be back hopefully in the next couple of days to make some other videos about Aaron Mattis, Syria, the Iranian elections, and a bunch of other things going on. So yeah, thank you everybody for watching. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you in our next video. Thank you.